Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadha Shivasti Gaura Bhakta Binda Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadha Shivasti Gaura Bhakta Binda Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadha Shivasti Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today is Tuesday. It is 23rd of September. It is Ashwini Masa or Padmanabha Masa, Sukla Paksham and Vidya Tithi. There are no Vaishnavans in the calendar. So we shall move into our daily Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Maitreya Muni describing the Virata form, and then so after hearing the prayers of demigods, the Lord has manifested Virata Rupa. So I'm giving assurance to them that uh, they will get their function, their place and functions and the knowledge to carry out. So that is, he is gradually explaining, Maitreya Muni gradually explaining how all the demigods also entered into the Virata form, and then Virata form means all the living entities coming together into the form of the Lord. So, and also we see that Suka Goswami has described, Yetadrupam Bhagavatohi Arupachi Siddhatmanaha Maya Guner Virichitam Mahadar Viratmani. So Virat form means all the living entities. So, but he has got a original form, spiritual body as well. So, Ata Tasyabi Taptasya Katidhayatananiha Nirbidhyanta Devanam Tanime Gaditaha Shrinu. So, Vidura, I will explain how the Virata form got functioned properly later on. Likewise, he is mentioning Gadataha Shrunu, Dev Tanime Gadataha Shrunu. He's and then after saying that the first demigod, the Agni. So in the Virata form, the mouth manifested, and Agni has taken the shelter of that mouth and entered into there. And then during that time, even the power of speech and also speeches, they are also manifested. Tasyagni nirbhinnam lokapalo avishitpatam vachasva amshena vyaktavyam yayaso pratipadhyate. And then the Virata form, and Virata form means all the living entities, they were able to speak as soon as the the Agni, which is taking the shelter of the mouth, and then the corresponding deity and corresponding function, speaking, and the speeches. Speeches are the materialistic exhibitions. Okay, so those experiences. Yayaso pratipadhyate. So all the living entities, they are able to speak. So later on, in gradually he is explaining later on how the tongue was manifested. On the tongue, and tongue was shelter for the Varuna Deva, and then at the time the tastes and also different kinds of manifestations also exhibited. So that living entities were able to taste different kinds of tastes like Katvam Lavana, that is bitter, salty, or sour, or sweet, like that. And then after that one, tongue and taste and Varuna. Next demigod is like a Ashwini Kumaras. They have taken shelter of the nose of the Virata form, and then then all the living entities were able to smell. All the living entities were able to smell. And then later on, the eyes. Later on, the eyes. So where the eyes were the place in the form of the Virata, the Twasta has entered. The Surya Deva, he entered, and then all the living entities are able to see it. And also, um, and all the objectives. Bhutas means which are the objectives with that sense to be seen. They were also manifested. Okay, so this is like Adidaivik, Adi, uh, Adidaivik, Adhyatma, Adibhuta. Adbhuta means which is the manifested things which can be perceived, which are exhibiting outside. Adidhaiva is the controlling deity. In the previous shloka, we have seen this is the one in the 12th shloka. So the director of the fire element is controlling deity or Adidaiva. The speeches delivered or Adhyatma speeches, and our bodily functions and subject matter of the speeches is material productions. Okay, so likewise, these are the sequence of Daivik, Adhyatma, and Bhuta, Adibhuta. Okay, so in this way, he's gradually explaining the different kinds of senses and their corresponding deities and corresponding the functions. They're all gradually manifested. So we shall cover at least 3 or 4 shlokas today, starting from 13. There are no purports for these shlokas. Okay, so starting from the tongue and then Varuna here. Nirbhinnantalu Varuno Lokapalo Avishadharehe Jihvaya Amshena Charasam Yayasau Pratipadhyate. Nirbhinnam Talu Varuno, Nirbhinnam, and then separated Talu the palate, Varunaha, the deity controlling water. Nirbhinnam Talu Varuno Lokapalo Avishadharehe. He is the director of the planets. Lokapalaha Avishad entered Harehe of the Lord's Virata form. And Jihvaya Amshena cha Rasam, Jihvaya Amshena with the part of the tongue, cha also, Rasam is the taste, Yaya by which also the living entity Pratipadyate expresses. Okay, so translation. When the palate of the gigantic form was separately manifested, Varuna, the director of water in the planetary systems, entered therein, and thus the living entity has the facility to taste everything with its tongue. Okay, so when the palate was manifested, the Varuna, he has taken the shelter of that palate at that time. Um, and also this is he has got a living entity has got the facility to taste everything with its tongue. Okay, that is function. Taste and also the function. And then that is about the Varuna Deva in the next shloka. So here it is about the Ashwini Kumaras and the nose and the sense of smell. Nirbhinni Ashwinau Nase Vishnoho Avishitam Padam Granena Amshena Gandhasya Pratipatyir Yato Bhavet. Nirbhinni Ashwinau Nase. So Nirbhinna, thus being separated, Ashwinau, the dual Ashwinis, Nase of the two nostrils. Vishnoho Avishitam Padam, Vishnoho of the Lord, Avishitam entering Padam and the post, that is the entering into that respective position. Vishnoho Avishitam Padam. Then what happened? Granin Amshena Gandhasya, by partially smelling. Granin Amshena, by partly smelling. Gandhasya, aroma. Pratipattihi Yato Bhavet, and the experience. Yato Bhavet, Yataha, whereupon Bhavet, it manifested. Nirbhinyasvino nase Vishnoravishram Padam. Granin Amshena Gandhasya Pratipattihi Yato Bhavet. When the Lord's two nostrils separately manifested themselves, the dual Ashwini Kumaras entered them in their proper positions, and because of this, the living entities can smell the aroma of everything, aromas of everything. Okay, this is about the nose, and then Ashwini Kumaras, and then the smell, the living entities. All the living entities can smell the aroma of everything. Okay, we shall move to the next shloka and the 15th shloka further. Here about the eyes, and then sense of sight, and then the sun god. निर्भिन्ने अक्षिणी त्वष्टा लोकपालो अविशद्विभोः चक्षुषा अंशेन रूपानं प्रतिपत्तिः यतो भवेत्. Nirbhinne Akshini Tvasta. Nirbhinne, and thus being separated. Akshini Tvasta. So Akshinis are the eyes. Tvasta, the sun. Tvasta. Lokapalo Avishad Vibhoho. Lokapalaha, director of light. Avishad entered. Vibhoho of the great. Chakshusha Amshena, by the part of the eyesight. Chakshusha Amshena, Rupanam of the forms. Pratipattihi Yato Bhavet. Pratipattihi is experience, yato bhavet, by which it bhavet it becomes. Okay, so that is the nirbhinyakshini tvasta lokapalo avishid vibhoho chaksha amshena rupanam pratipattihi yato bhavet. Thereafter, the two eyes of the gigantic form of the Lord were separately manifested. The sun, the director of the light, entered them with the partial representation of eyesight, and thus the living entities can have vision of forms. Okay, that is sense of sight. So again, the sun god for the eyesight, demigod, and then the sense, that is eyes, and then function is the vision of forms. So that all the living entities can have the vision of the forms. Okay, so we shall move to one more as well to cover. Next one is the skin, and then here the Vayudeva, and then the skin, and then sense of touch. Nirbhinnani asya charmani lokapalo adilo avishyat प्राणिनांशेन संस्पर्शम येनासो प्रतिपद्यते. Nirbhinnani asya charmani, and being separate, nirbhinnani, being separated, asya of the gigantic form, charmani, skin. Lokapalo anilo avishet, lokapalaha the director, anilaha is the air, avishet entered. And pranena amshena samsparsham, the part of the breathing, pranena amshena is part of the breathing, samsparsham, touch, samsparsham, touch. Yena so pratipajyate, yena by which aso the living entity pratipajyate, he can experience the sense of touch. Nirbhinnani asya charmani lokapalo anilo avishyat pranin amshena samsparsham yenaso pratipajyate. So when there was a manifestation of skin separated from the gigantic form, Anila, the deity directing the wind, entered with partial touch, and thus the living entities can realize tactile knowledge. Tactile knowledge. Okay, so by sense of touch, they can perceive. So this is whether it is soft or hard, whether it is cold or warm, like that. These are different kinds of functions. These are all again what kind of things can be perceived. This will also will be described in detail. What could be those functions? Of course, we live and experience those things, but it is described in the Bhagavatam, in the 26th chapter. Okay, just we shall cover again the 17th shloka. Later on, after the skin and then the vayu and sense of touch was manifested. Next one is the ears. So ears, and then the corresponding demigod, and then the sense of hearing, the shabda. So here they're called Dig Devatas. So Dig Devatas got taken the shelter of the ears. कर्णवस्य विभिन्नौ दिश्यं स्वं विविशुद्दिशः श्रोत्रेण अंशेन शब्दस्य सिद्ध्यं येन प्रपद्यते. कर्णवस्य विभिन्नौ, कर्णौ the ears, asya of the gigantic form, virbhinnau being the separated, Dishnyam swam vivishuddishaha. Dishnyam, the controlling deity, swam own, Vivishuhu entered, Dishaha of the directions, Dikpalas. These are controlling deity of the different directions are called Dikpalas. Dishyam swam Vivishuhu Dishaha. Srotrena amshena shabdhasya. Srotrena amsena. Srotrena is the with the hearing principles. Srotrena amshena with hearing principles. Shabdhasya of the sound. Siddhim yena prapadyate. And that is perfection. Yena by which prapadyate is experienced. One can hear as soon as the ears were manifested in the Virata form and the demigods, the Dikpalas, who are the presiding deity for the ears, they have entered and then ears were able to experience sense of hearing. Okay, that is कर्णवस्तविद् भिन्नौ दिश्यं स्वं विविशुद्धशः श्रोत्रेण अंशेन सिद्धस्य सिद्धिं येन प्रपद्यते. When the ears of the gigantic form became manifested, all the controlling deities of the directions entered into them with the hearing principles, by which all the living entities hear and take advantage of the sound. Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, can I request Saranya Mataji, are you available to read purport? Okay, if Mataji is not available, any unallocated devotees, please. David Mataji wanted to read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes, thank you. The ear is the most important instrument in the body of the living entity. Sound is the most important medium for carrying the message of distant and unknown things. The perfection of all sound or knowledge enters through the ear and makes one's life perfect. The entire Vedic system of knowledge is received by oral reception only, and thus sound is the most important source of knowledge. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Mataji. So in this purport, the ear is the most, this is where we receive the transcend reception. The sound is the most prominent out of all the senses. Ear is the most important instrument in the body of the living entity. So when the person in his old age, so gradually all of his senses stop working. So during that time, still he would able to hear little bit when the sense of touch and the taste and sense of sight, even those are lost, but he would be able to hear. So that's why some people will go and to his ear and say, Om Namo Narayana. So during their last times, Narayana ante Gatranga Shrinutam. So someone will go and try to say, so that if by hearing the name of the Lord, they may leave the body going to the Vaikuntha. They will help that person. So that is very important one. The ear is most important instrument in the body of the living entity. And also here, the universe, how it has emanated from, that is from the sound. So from the mode of, out of three material modes of nature, from the mode of goodness, the mind and the demigods manifested from mode of passion. Karnendriyas, Jnanendriyas, and their corresponding functions got manifested. And from the mode of ignorance, that Tanmatras and Panchabhutas got manifested. Out of those Tanmatras, the first thing is the sound. Tamasacha Vikurvana Bhagavad Choditat Shabdamatram Abustasmat Nabaha Srotram to Shabdhagam. The Nabaha Srotram to Sabdhagam. So that's why if we say that this universe has created from the sound, so that is the right way of approaching the knowledge. So that is the right. So it comes from third canto, 26th chapter, verse number 32 shloka. So there, Saddhamatram Abustasman Nabaha Surotram to Sabdhagam. So from that sound, the sky and also the ears got manifested. Of course, these are all before the Virata form. These are all before the Virata form. Whatever we are now seeing, once the Virata form got manifested, all the demigods taking shelter of different parts of that Virat Rupa form, so that all the living entities, they can experience like all the sense perceptions. Okay, that is the sequence here. So here, sound is the most important medium for carrying the message of distant and unknowing things. And then the perfection of all sound or knowledge enters through the ear and makes one's life perfect. So for example, if we see there are so many blind people, but they were able to sing very beautiful kirtans. So they make the sound, through the sound they approach the Lord. Even Bilva Mangal Thakur, so when his eyes were, he just plucked out his eyes, or he damaged his eyes so that he could not see any woman at all. So that was his intention. But without eyes, he has compiled this Karna, Sri Krishna Karnamritam. So, and then those are very beautiful kirtans comes, around 300 plus shlokas come in the Krishna Karnamritam. He has experienced all those things and he made his life perfect. Perfection of all sound or knowledge enters through the ear and make one's life perfect. Okay, so there he can just call out to the Lord by uh, expressing his feelings. Anada Bandhu, Karneka Sindhu, Hahanta Hahanta Katarnayami. Oh Krishna, where are you? Just that is making by sound, he can call to the Lord, sound. Okay, so that makes one's life perfect through the just simply ears itself. And then the entire Vedic system of knowledge is received by oral reception only, and thus sound is the most important source of knowledge. Okay, that's why our Vedas are all called Shrutis. They are to be heard. They have to be heard from the spiritual master, spiritual authorities. Okay, by oral reception. And we are all hearing, there is Shruta Sambruta Yachiram. One has to hear Krishna Katha for a long time. Through what? Through the sound vibrations, through the ears. For a long time. Then he would be separating from the gross and the subtle bodies gradually, just like a Arani. Arani is the tool where the Brahmanas, they lit the fire using that tool for the sacrifices. So when that Arani is gradually, if it rapidly does that one, use that tool to make that, whatever the fire comes from the Arani is the wooden tool. The fire comes out it and then it will burn at Arani itself. Likewise, when we Sruta Sambrutaya Chiram, when we keep hearing Krishna Katha gradually, this grass body and subtle body both will be digested. Jarayati Yashu Yakosham, Nigirna Manaloyata. Kosham is the subtle body. So this one, Devhuti Mata asks, so how can a living entity will be separated from the nature, but they are always taking shelter like this? A flower, a beautiful smelling flower, how can it be separated from its smell by its property? And then likewise, she gives some analogies in the 27th chapter of third canto only. At the time, how can be these properties or the propensity of a living entity will be separated without taking shelter of a material body, living entity and material body and the propensities? How can they will be separated? Is it possible at all? Then Kapil Bhagavan says, yes, it is possible by just giving an analogy of this Arani wooden tool, using that one, using that tool very rapidly, then the iron itself will be burned. Likewise, when we are engaged in the devotional service, the material body, subtle body, both will be digested. So that analogy was so perfect. Okay, that is the Vedic system of Sutta Sambrata Yachiram. Shrinatah Shraddhya Nityam Gunasasa Swacheshtam Kalena Nati Dirghena Bhagavan Vishite Hridi. So one has to hear this Krishna Katha by oral reception only, and the sound is the most important source of knowledge. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam, how these living, how these senses are being manifested, and then all the demigods, they are taking shelter of those senses of the Virata form, so that all the living entities, they can perceive those sense perceptions. Okay, so that means all of our body, it is not only the Virat Rupa form, we are understanding ourselves, our bodily things. Each and every sense is controlled by the deities here, Lokapala. Okay, so that is how Adi Daivik and then Adi Adhyatma and Adi Bhuta. That one has described here in the first, before we entered into the first purport here. The director of the fire element is controlling deity or Adidaiva. Speeches delivered or Adhyatma are bodily functions, and the subject matter of the speeches is material productions or Adibhuta principle. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. The five senses got manifested, and all the demigods presiding deities for those senses, they entered it, and then corresponding function got generated, so that living entities, they experience those functions, the sense perceptions. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Okay, we shall move to next Srila Prabhupada's daily letter. So today letter to Kenneth, November 17, 1970, Bombay. Can I request Debashish Prabhuji to read this letter, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. My dear Simon Kenneth, please accept my blessing. I beg to thank you for your letter dated 23rd of August 1970, expressing your humble realization concerning Krishna consciousness process. Yes, it is. It is only. It is. It is the only way that you can approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to Lord Krishna, instructions to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, this uh, science of science is passed down perfectly only via the bona fide line of disciple successions. So one has got to find out some representative of Lord who is the bona fide disciplic successions, and then follow the Lord's instruction that after the finding out such of a spiritual master, one should try to learn the truth from him by inquiring submissively and regard and rendering service unto him. The method of approaching Krishna must be accepted because it is offered by the Lord Himself. So, the first step is that one should consider carefully whatever whether here is a bona fide spiritual master to whom I can surrender myself without any hesitation. I am very glad that you have decided to rejoin our spiritual community of Krishna consciousness at New Vrindavan. We have established New Vrindavan to be developed as a model of Krishna consciousness or pure, under, under unadulterated spiritual community, practical for all persons. Actually, the atmosphere there is very transcendental, and I am very pleased that you have got the good sense to take advantage of this shelter from distress and frustration of the material world. Please try your best to learn our Krishna philosophy very nicely. When you have some difficult points, you can ask advice from Sriman Harigriva or your elder god brothers. Chant Hare Krishna always do your regular task in Krishna consciousness, cooperate with other devotees, follow strictly the four regulative principles, and be happy in the service of the Lord. Hope this will meet you in good health. Your ever Rulisha, Rishi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Ki Jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Any points, takeaway points, Prabhuji?
Quite a few takeaway points, Prabhu. Most importantly, we always have to surrender ourselves wholeheartedly to learn something. And the first thing is we should only learn from the disciple succession line, and who are following the Krishna consciousness without any um, changes, as it comes from Lord Krishna himself to Arjuna, and through that the parampara is coming. We should always follow that. Another couple of points that came to my mind is to develop the Krishna consciousness. We must always do our service to Krishna with happiness. We should feel happy to do something for Krishna, and we should always be surrounded with devotee and devotee and the atmosphere of the Krishna consciousness. Bro, Haribol, that's my take.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Nicely explained and summarized. Okay, any other comments, dear devotees? Okay, so that is from Srila Prabhupada's letter. So here, this is one would experience that devotional service only by rendering service unto the devotees of the Lord. So that is Vina Mahatpada Rajobhishekam. Apart from serving Vaishnavas, you would not get that love of Godhead that much easily. Rahugana and the conversations between Rahugana and Jadabharata. So there Jadabharata says to Rahugana that Vina, that is except Mahatpada Rajobhishekam. If you do not render service to the Vaishnavas, then you don't get such kind of love of Godhead. So here Prabhupada is describing that knowledge comes from Guru Parampara, bona fide disciplic succession. Evam parampara praptam imam rajasho viduhu. And then one has to approach and then tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshite jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. And they will teach all the knowledge, how to attain the love of Godhead. And then this is Susrusa Sadhidhansya Vasudeva Kataruchihi Syan Maseve Vipraha Punyatirtha Nishevanat. Rendering to service unto those devotees, it is Punyatirtha Nishevanat, just rendering service to all the Punyatirthas. Directly, even Punyatirtha Tirthapada is also called Lord and his places. This is the नेह्यत् कर्म धर्माय न विरागाय कल्पते न तीर्थपद सेवाय जीवनपि मृतो हि सः. If person does not serve a spiritual master or the supreme lord to attain the love of Godhead, and then getting detached from knowledge, and getting knowledge, detachment, and the love of Godhead, if he doesn't get these three, then he is like a jivanapi mruto hi saha. Even though he is living, he is called a dead body. Okay, so here again, in the first step is one should consider carefully whether he is a bona fide spiritual master to whom I can surrender myself without any hesitation. So that is very important step in the first. Spiritual master means it should be, he will not adulterate any message from the spiritual succession, from the Guru Parampara or from Krishna. Okay, so this is, we have established New Vrindavana to be developed as the model of Krishna consciousness or pure, unadulterated spiritual community practical for all persons. This is really practical. We experience that one. But one should have the Adu Shraddha. That is the first thing. And then Prabhupada is, that is the New Vrindavan is very conducive for devotional services. Atmosphere that is very transcendental. Okay, and then he is taking advantage of this shelter from the distress and frustration of the material world. That is true, but still we know, but we don't go there that much easily. We think that still I have got my children, I have got exams. So generally mothers, they work very hard for their family's sake. Okay, so just I see my children also, they are just going through so much of hard work for their exams. Mothers are working like anything. Okay, so that is, we cannot, this is, everyone are tied up, badhanti. They are being tied up just like all the cows are uh, tied with a noose thread and then again a big thread to the one strong rod so that cow cannot go. Likewise, all the living entities are tied up with corresponding responsibility. Even though one person is knowledgeable and having he cannot escape as well that much easily unless Lord comes and cut that bijjate hriday grandhi. Okay, but we need to go gradually, so until we relieve from all the responsibilities. Okay, so Prabhupada is encouraging, try your best to learn our Krishna philosophy very nicely. When you have some difficult point, you can ask advice from Sriman Haigriva or your elder brother, elder god brothers. Chant Hare Krishna always. Do your regular tasks in Krishna consciousness. Cooperate with the other devotees. Follow strictly the four regulative principles and be happy in the service of the Lord. Okay, these things happen when we are continuously associating with the devotees. So that is my reflections as well. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu, can I just add something on that note?
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Prabhuji, the last line in there is like, we should be surrounded by the devotees and we should build a relation with our devotees and all the Krishna consciousness people. Um, I believe our Sangha, we should do something about this as well, Prabhu, because we are doing the Sangha year after year, but we are not bonding that much. We are not building our relationship as a family. We should be a family, like we should gather together. That was the instruction from the temple as well. I just, last weekend, they called me and talked to me as well. Nish Prabhu has said similar thing that we should grow up as a family, so that gives us more opportunity not to mix up with outside people, and we learn from each other and all this. Horrible. I thought just tell you this. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, that is true. So we need to have the house programs frequently. But yes, and the devotees, if you wanted to, any devotee wanted to host this Satsangata home, then kindly come forward. So we got the speakers like Nishkinchana Prabhu. He is happy to come and then carry out the that is as if to facilitate the Sangha, to carry out the Katha. If any devotees are happy to host it, so we have got the speaker Nishkinchana Prabhu from the Bhaktivedanta Manar. Okay, so thank you so much, Prabhuji. Okay, that is from the announcements point of view, today we have got Tuesday preaching practice session at 8 p.m. Today is our speaker is Gayatri Mataji. This is our upcoming event. Jayavad Mataji.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, in another Sangha that I don't attend that much, but I know that they have like 3 or 4 events, gatherings in a year where they either go to a park or do something like Prabhuji said, a bonding type of thing. So, but I know that it may not be possible for everyone. But yeah, you are right in suggesting at least start from home. And it's in my mind to do it, but I will definitely think about it more, how I can do it with my family as well. Yeah.
That will be wonderful, Mataji. So we did like all devoted Jayabashish Prabhuji and then Hemlata Mataji, Meena Mataji. They have done in their homes very nicely. It's not very difficult. Just first of all, we just prepare. Only the thing is preparation of the prasad. That is the little bit hard thing. but everything else goes very nicely. All devotees will come automatically. Lord arranges. For the prasadam also, it's not very difficult as well. Even it is not big feast. Maybe if we just simply start preparing some kind of sweet and then some rice and sabji, that's all we. It is job done. And first of all, that is the main thing. If we make it as simple as much as simple, things will manifest very easily.
Yeah, no, yeah. For me, that is not a problem. I can do all that. It's trying to convince people in my house.
Yes, yeah, that is the only thing, Mother. Okay,
Yes.
that is another dimension.
Yes. But I'm hoping that it will work. If not immediately, in a month, 2 months' time, hopefully, it might happen.
Thank you, Mataji. Very, very nice suggestion, Mataji. And Prabhu, yes, house program is the main thing. We should try to encourage our devotees. I think I should do myself even more frequently. We should start soon. Plus, sometimes, as Mataji said, we should gather together somewhere, like even in the temple. We all comes together in the temple and we do sangha in there. We can hire a room, and like we do sangha in online, we can do together in there, or we can meet up any other temple, some places like that. Just to bring up the bonding. That's how we grow up as a sangha all together, and help each other to increase in our Krishna consciousness platform. Haribol.
I think that's a great suggestion from Devashish Prabhu, that if we can manage to meet up in a temple wherever is convenient for everyone, I think even in once in every few months, I think that can be very distinct. And for the house thing, I have it in my mind, but I live on my own, so I'm just worried that okay, how will I take care of all the devotees, and how will I because I'm not used to preparing so much of prasadam. So
Prabhuji, sorry to interrupt. Prasadam, don't think too much of the prasadam. Then we'll never can do this. Prasadam, we can even bring everyone little bit. Then it's done.
okay,
Yes,
Prabhu.
yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
I need that courage and encouragement, Prabhu. But
and
this is going on in my mind for the last few weeks.
I know
That
all of us, we are same platform. I think all of us think someone need to ignite the light, and I think I will do it. I have spoken to us, whole group, this sangha who has started Nish Prabhu. I was speaking to him this weekend, and he was really saying that no, we have to do house program to encourage. So, soon, I asked him a date. He will give a date, and I will let you know all. I think I will start first. I'll take the first responsibility. Haribol.
Hare
that's
Krishna,
very
Prabhu. Yeah.
gracious. That's very gracious, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Absolutely. I agree with everyone, and especially thank you for Devashish for bringing up this, because I also met Nishkinchana Prabhu and he was congratulating us for doing the Soito Rath Yatra fund collection. And then he said, you should do house programs regularly. But as Prabhu said, sometimes, like for me, we couldn't do all these years because we live in a small rented house and the living room is so small that we can only have 4 people. So I mean, 4 of us, when we sit, the floor is occupied. So for me, that's the hindrance. Otherwise, but when Mataji suggested, like, even if we commit to 4 times in a year outside also, like, if somebody can do house program, that's fine. Otherwise, outside in the temple or somewhere, and then we can bring like potluck kind of thing. We can do a prasadam, and so Swarup Prabhu, you don't need to worry. We have always done that previously. Also, we do the head count, we do a poll, and and Krishna helps to arrange. So prasadam is done like that. If it's outside, we arrange something for keeping hot. Otherwise, if it's in the house, then we can warm it in the microwave or something. So that's how we have done previously also till last year. Meena Mataji's program. I think I saw you at Meena Mataji's program. But yeah, if not every month, 4 times in a year also, if we commit, that'll be really great. And we can have, because Nishkinchana Prabhu is the one who started this Sangha a long time back with Devashish Prabhu and Ramlala Prabhu. They used to have house programs in before 2020, when the thing before COVID, and after COVID it became online because of social distancing and all. So he is very keen. He loves coming to house programs, and if you hear his lectures, like we used to have Bhagavad Gita. I mean, this is the second time we are doing Bhagavad Gita. First time it was him who started, and the way he used to do Bhagavad Gita was like really very amazing. So he said, I told Prabhu, can you come? He said, yeah, if you do house programs, then I will come. So we need his association also. His mercy is very important, and he's one of the key members of the group. So many of you who joined later, you might not have met him, but he's a nice Vaishnava to have again back in a Sangha. So we can do something like that. So I'm with everybody on this program. Yeah. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, on top, two things comes in my mind. Srila Prabhupada, when set up this system, there is a reason behind it. Sometimes we struggle to get help from the outside world. Even we don't even know what our group, in our group, we have different skill. Different people has different skill. We can help each other. I mean, we're happy to help a Vaishnava, but then we do not know who can help, which way, who does it, who has the specialty in which subject or which area. So that's another reason. Nishkanchan Prabhu is one of the lead now in the temple. To get him is very difficult, but he's eager to come to our sangha because he's one of the this is our sangha is one of his first he started with when he was very young and started temple very early stage of his life. So we should start now. Is this about time? We're going year by year is passing by. We should start now. I'm saying that not everyone. I am talking to myself, so I should start soon as well. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. But a devotee even will let everyone know in advance so that everyone can make some effort to come at least and join the sangha. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Devashish Prabhuji, Sanchita Mataji, Swarup Prabhuji, and Javid Mataji. Okay, nicely sharing your thoughts. So hope we will hear from Devashish Prabhuji soon. The date.
In fact, Devashish Prabhuji mentioned something very interesting. Knowing each other also and knowing, each other's skills and how, and I'll give you one example. Because I go to Manor on Friday evenings for Kirtan, and there is another Prabhu who is the main, this thing. And there's something that he needed a little bit of assistance, and um, I know a little bit about that, so I could. So Devashish Prabhu's example, that's what I was reflecting on, and that because we came to know each other, then it becomes easier to see whether we can assist each other in different ways. This is a very, very good point, Devashish Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Swarup Prabhuji. Yes, thank you so much, dear devotees, for kindly updating your thoughts and sharing. Okay, anything else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. On a different note, Prabhu, while we are doing these Srimad Bhagavatam shlokas, I think long back when we were doing chapter 2, I think when you shared the Virat Rupa, so not today, of course, today is time, like they were, Swarup Prabhu and Jai Mataji, they joined later. So maybe you can again show it while explaining tomorrow so that they can see the picture. It's a nice picture to connect to the Virat Rupa, which is different from the Vishwarupa, which he showed in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So you can show later. Yeah, this one, yeah, Prabhu. So maybe you can explain it tomorrow a bit to them, so they'll also enjoy. Yes, very nice. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for reminding. Yes, I have been thinking that one. Okay, so we shall see this form tomorrow as well. Okay, that is from Srimad Bhagavatam, so where the mouth is first generated, later on other senses, the tongue, and then eyes, the nostrils, and then ears, the Digdevdas, they got manifest. Okay, so we will see it tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanchita Mataji.
Okay, so yes, Mataji?
No, I just Hare Krishna. That's it.
Hare Krishna. Okay, we shall conclude and continue with the japa. वञ्चकल्पतरुभ्यः कृपासिन्धुभ्यो एव च
एव च पतितानां पावनविभो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
जय
जय
बात की जय हरे
जय हरे कृष्ण।
कृष्ण